all of our young people. Our young people, we know that parents are the first teachers of all of our young people. That's a given, right? There is no question about that. And we as parents, and I say we because I do have my own 2 children who are now older, but they're still my children. We have to understand what it is to be parents and to be role models, to be teachers, to set examples, all those kind of things for our children, and to prepare them for what's going to happen in terms of education. This morning in service, Pastor Liam talked about the fact that educators should not be doing parental work. So it's not the educator's job to teach your children how to quote unquote behave. It's not the educator's job to get the children to sit and pay attention. It is not the educator's job to get your children ready to learn. It is not the educator's responsibility to make sure your children have what they need. That's not their job. Now, clearly, they will do what they can to assist when necessary, but we have to understand as parents, fundamentally, we should prepare our children to learn. Prepare them to learn, and then the educators can do what can get done. Again, from Bishop M this morning, educators should not be doing parental work. So let's get it on. And then tonight, we're going to start from the beginning, as I sent out the note to everyone. Starting from the beginning, preschool preparation for our children with educators, Mr. Dwight Hart and Ms. Lee. And Ms. Lee is going to talk to you about who she is and who she isn't. And she threw herself back on the chair just now as I said this, but I need to get this done because it's all part of it, you know, and part of it is also our heritage, our legacy. So you have a lot to live up to, a lot to all those kind of things. But by the same token, you have and you continue to carve out your own space as who you are. And so the question I always start with everybody is to introduce yourselves, and I'll give you the floor to introduce yourself in the way that you want to be introduced, so that you are not, or who you are. All the energy, all the. So I'm very happy to have you here today. So let's go. And your shirt says, God says I am, so go for it.
Good evening, Bermuda. This is Teacher Tao here. How are you today? My name, of course, is Miss Lee. You are absolutely right. Tao Lee. Too many E's, too many L's. Imagine my teachers, the struggle they had to teach me how to spell that name. But anyhow, my name is Teacher Tao. I've been teaching for 15 plus years, and I look like I'm 17 years old, right?
That's true, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I love what I do. Even before I taught within daycare, I was teaching dance in church, and I've just always found myself in teaching capacities. So teaching is my passion. I find every possible way to teach. But my passion, of course, is teaching preschool children and younger. I love my babies.
And give me some background, schooling, all that kind of stuff, education, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I started teaching. I started volunteering at the First Church of God Nursery and Daycare under Mother Lamb.
Okay.
I used to go summertime, school breaks. I was right up under her, so I really, really enjoyed my time there. I was a baby among 4 or 5 elders, right? And they really taught me the old school way of teaching. So I'm really, really grateful for my experience there. As soon as I left high school, I started there as an assistant and started my online course. So I was teaching full-time as an assistant and did my online schooling at the same time. So that's how I snuck in so many years, if you was wondering.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I started there, again, under Mother Lamb, Jennifer Seymour, who's well-loved, may she rest in peace. But again, being able to teach with them, you know, I was just 18 years old with all these, you know, teachers that had so much experience. So it was really my training grounds. I was able to experiment and figure out my own teaching style, but I had the guidance of so many beloved teachers. So shout out to all of you that may be listening that, you know, had children that went through Fresh Church of God Nursery. It's just still is a wonderful, wonderful school. Yeah, so from there I moved on to my next daycare, which was the start of COVID. That school actually closed down, so I was able to walk through that school, through that whole process. And again, I learned so much there about management, you know, the business of teaching, so on and so forth. Also, while I was there, I finished my online schooling. So I currently have my associates in child daycare, and I did a focus in daycare management also. My third stop was P2L. Yeah, I definitely got all my practice out the way before I came to P2L. And believe it or not, P2L is like the school I always imagined should be possible.
Okay.
I always imagined this school should be happening, like before I even got here. So my first tour, when this wonderful man sitting next to me who you'll meet next, he toured me, and I'll let him tell you my first words to him if he remembers. But I was so amazed because as a teacher, specifically for myself, I have so much energy. Like I'm a business owner, right? I have 4 small businesses.
Wow.
And most people are like, how did you? I've been doing it my whole life. I took all of my talents, my hobbies, my passions, and put logos on them. I'm a graphic designer, so hey, yeah, I made my own logos and you know, got on pushing. So my creativity and everything that I have within me, when I came to P2, I was like, wow, this is a space where teachers are really able to blossom and grow and be creative and be themselves, let alone the benefits of our school and structure of our school, which we'll talk about later, that it has on the children that come within our facility. Those same benefits can be applied and appreciated by the teachers. P2L is awesome. It's out of, not even out of Bermuda, it's out of this world, and we love it. We love P2L. So that's a bit about me.
Okay. I must say, you know, the energy is
Before
there.
you go on, you have to thank me because I summarized my introduction. I could have taken the whole 2 hours and just blabbed on about myself.
Well, no worries. To be honest, I'm going to come back to that because you did have, there are some gaps I want to call it. So we'll come back to that in terms of whatever you're talking about. And so, again, thank you. And I'll say this too, it's the energy is obvious, yeah? And if you bring this level of energy to the class or to the school or to the environment every day or even most days, I can only imagine what it is for the children, because children obviously they respond to it, they take it in themselves, right? And so I can only imagine if this is what takes place, not if this takes place, when this takes place every day.
All day, every day.
Man. So anyway, I'll ask that. Then you definitely not. So Mr. Hart,
Good evening.
you're the guy.
How are you, sir?
Pretty good. How do you actually how you manage it, but anyway, who are you?
I am a proud seed of Bermuda.
Okay.
Educational journey started at Playmates High, which was just the assignments of Pembroke Park.
Okay.
Going to West Pembroke School under the direction of Miss Mange, who we all love, still love, and we will never forget. From there was Robert Crawford, where I maintained many skills as far as craftsmanship and engineering, that kind of more hands, more kinetic stuff.
Sure.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
From there, Berkeley College of Music at the age of 16.
Oh.
Then I hit the road. I had the blessing of being able to tour the world for about 20 years or so.
Okay.
Near the end of it, I definitely got a job at Boston Children's Hospital. I was working on the oncology unit. And this is where it all started. The child sat inside of me, where I will eventually be, which is here at P2L today. I fell in love with the children. I was working on the oncology unit at Children's Hospital. Then I got seconded to Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. And I got to work with these kids, and I got to work with kids that were terminally ill, of course. But the love and the lesson that I got from the children is what landed me here. I thought I would learn, you know, more of the dark side to being terminally ill. The children taught me just the opposite. They taught me the upside, the bright side, what they look forward to. I asked the kid, well, you know what, if you could have anything in the world, what would you like? And he just said a plate of my grandmother's food and a Diet Coke, because he knew he couldn't have a regular Coke. Something so simple, but so powerful. So when I come to school every day and I see my children and I hug them and hold them, it means that much to me, so much to me, because I know I'm going to see them 6 months, 8 months, 10 years from now.
Oh.
and I settled into the preschool setting, and I haven't moved since. I gave up touring to be with the kids.
Touring doing what, Mr. Hart?
Okay.
Don't undersell yourself. This is a celebrity in our mix.
I play a little drums now.
A little.
I got lucky, did a few years in Las Vegas and just touring around the world. But all those skills and the children is what settled me here, and I will not be moved.
Well,
I will not be moved.
clearly, I am speechless. And that's the beauty of it in terms, again, in Bermuda, right? We see people, we heard the names, and we don't really know what it is.
Yeah, the journey.
Yeah.
The journey.
And so it's not about, oh, somebody's lucky, not at all. It's more a matter of this what you did, this what you went through, and now what you come right down to is this provided the motivation for what you do day by day.
Indeed.
And so it's interesting, each of you have a different motivation, yeah? But so now let's talk about, because people may not know, a lot of them will not know, by the way, about the school itself. So talk to us about the actual school. And then we have Mr. Simons, who is on the outskirts here. Everybody knows Troy Simons. He is, in many respects, a serial entrepreneur. I've always known him to be doing something. Yes, he has the technical background, but I've always known him to be doing one business or the other. And so tonight, he said he's not going to say anything, but Teacher Tao?
Teacher Tao.
Teacher Tao says that that's going to be impossible. And so I will ask him to share the mic for a minute and just let us know how you are involved in P2L. And actually, one of you we have to go back a bit, because one of you have to tell us what is P2L, where is it, how does it work, all that kind of stuff, and then we go from there. But so maybe, I'm not sure if you'll do that.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
And good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, Perform to Learn is a perform to...
One quick second. Can you go in the middle, please? That way we can capture you more easily.
Perform to Learn is a performing arts preschool. It basically was put together by the founder who had learning difficulties and was brought up in the Boston area. And because she was in the Boston area, she was able to be exposed to different types of learning styles, art, textures, history. It was just many, many different styles of learning. And with that, eventually she was introduced to preschool and basically, produced P2L, Perform to Learn. And, not only did she infuse many styles of learning, but also included teachers that were really talented in the arts. And through that, children were able to learn kind of through multi-modes. And, that's really what Perform to Learn is. I am the administrator, so basically I pay the bills and make sure it conforms to government regulations and those types of things. That's my role in business, and really to make sure the team is together. So that's really all I've done, which is I'm the supporting actor to make sure everything works well. But that's Perform to Learn.
How long have you been doing it? How long have you?
Since around 2021.
Okay, so it's been a time.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot through the teachers and the way they work, and the way the actual school works, which is very different from the traditional school. And today it's a really exciting group of teachers, and I'm sure these guys will tell you more about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear them speak about themselves, because they all bring so much more to the table. We are really all the sum of our experiences. And when I hear, Mr. Hart say, I toured the world, I've had the opportunity of hearing all of those people that he's been touring with and touring and performing for. And, that sort of experience, when you in the classroom, when he lights up with the drums or any other instrument and is teaching just a simple lesson of, 1, 2, 3, or how to put colors into, I think, 4x4 rhythm. You'd have to ask him about exactly that, but because I haven't sat through the whole class. But it's just fascinating, his mastery of it and how children can pick up on it. And in each of these areas, each of these sort of centers, children are picking up these things in a really, really interesting way. So, if your child is struggling, or I shouldn't say struggling, but learns in one particular way, but not another, somewhere during the course of a day, that child should be exposed to their style of learning. And because they get exposed to all of the teachers, you know, in a traditional school, a child might just be exposed to one teacher, and that teacher will typically have one style of teaching. But you know, in Perform to Learn, they get actually moved through each teacher, and each teacher gets to touch and do their best with them. So you know, it's just an interesting mode, and it's you know, relatively new, although it's become more common, I guess, over the last 5 years globally. And you know, so that's Perform to Learn. I've always been interested in, well, I say always interested. My mom taught preschool a lot of years ago, and you know, everybody in the Pembroke area, I felt like in the Pembroke area, come to her preschool, I knew them in some way.
Yeah.
And of course, back then, preschools were very, very different. You know, I just, you know, I mean, my father drove a water truck, and after all these academic lessons were done, you know, some of the kids could get in the truck and go for a drive around, and you know,
yeah.
all of it is so different. That's 30 years ago. You know, today the regulations are very, very different.
Yeah.
And you know, to see that regulation change and the way it's impacted the schools and the way they're run and who we're hiring is really, really interesting. Okay. And I'm hoping you'll hit on that a little bit later. Sure. But yeah, that's who I am, and you know, I'm the supporting act to all of these guys, basically.
Okay, again, thank you. Appreciate that. I'll call this Troy's cameo appearance. He'll be back, I'm sure, as we go on. Okay, so now what I want to do is to get the listening audience in the proper context. Is going to be to tell me about the school. Teacher Tao has a comment to make, I think. This is going to be a fun interview, I can tell already, because of the energy looking for both of them, and just the knowledge from you bring, actually, in terms of the touring overseas, because it's not normal in terms of, it's not something everybody gets a chance to do.
I agree.
So I will be talking to you about that in terms of what lessons you've learned, what skills you've learned, all that kind of thing. But to the listening audience again, thank you for joining us here on Magic 102.7 on your Sunday evening. It's an interesting time because, as I said, I often ask parents what are they doing while listening to the show, and now it's more obvious because I know one person told me today that they're going to braid their daughter's hair. So they'll do that between today and tomorrow, and how long that takes. Yesterday, someone else told me about the fact that it costs a lot of money to get the hair done. And so for little girls who are like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, mommy pays or daddy pays or somebody pays a lot of money to get the hair done.
Yes.
And it's got to last. But it can't last too long because guess what? I'm a little person. I'm going to run around and do different things, right? And so it's a fun thing. And then today somebody talked about the idea that for mom, like he said, mom is well, for parents, it's you prepare the child. Got to iron all those school clothes so they're done on Sunday, not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You still got to go home and all these things. And so hopefully I remember also to give a shout out to parents because it is not easy to do all these things. You got to do them no matter what.
Thank you, parents.
Have a headache, feel sick, whatever case may, guess what? You still got to prepare for children. So
rain, blow or shine.
There you go. So you had something to say before we go on to, I want to talk about the actual school,
Absolutely.
what it is, where it is, how it's organized, the ethos behind it. Troy did talk a bit about it in terms of, he put it, I think, as a performing arts school, which is interesting in and of itself. So talk to us about those things, the structure, how many students, and actually something as basic as where is it? Who's in charge? All those things. So let's go.
Okay, so I'll start and then I'll pass the mic on to Mr. Hard.
So Teacher Tao's in charge. Whether it be formal or informal, you're the person, I can tell.
You catch on quick. You catch on quick. I like you.
No problem. Do it.
So yes, Perform to Learn is a performing arts play-based school. The way our school is, well, first of all, let's get into the classes that we offer.
Yes.
Right? So we have culture, we have practical life skills class, we have a Spanish class.
Just back a minute.
We have
How old are the children? How old are the children? Good. How old are the children?
We start our children at, well, they can come 2 months before their second birthday.
From age 2. Let's say, so age 2.
Yeah.
Until
women got a bit more technical, so technically 22 months.
So 22 months.
Yes, and we take them right up to preschool.
And that's 2, so like 5 or 6.
5, and then when they leave us, they go off to primary school.
Okay. And I asked the question, interrupting you intentionally, because you teach them culture.
We teach them culture.
Okay, now, sorry, go back.
Okay.
Culture, what else is it?
Culture, we have practical life skills, and we can go deeper into what we teach later, but I'll just list all our classes off. Practical life skills, Spanish, math, STEM, preschool 101, we have music.
Hold on a second. Preschool 101, music,
Grocery store etiquette. Yes, sir.
Grocery store.
Etiquette.
Go ahead.
Movement.
Jeez. Movement.
Arts.
Movement. Arts. Yep.
Theater.
Jeez. Theater.
What's that other class Teacher Hart?
Excuse me.
With where you blow up, like let's say we're talking about apples. He blurs up the apple and like
Explodes it.
Yes.
What's the class called?
and he prints off, and he also will print off like a 3D apple that's like bigger than the children.
What I'll do is I try to make stuff, the curriculum, bigger than they are.
Okay.
I want the curriculum to be life size. So
Okay.
whatever we're doing, I take it over the top.
Okay.
I teach music. My music notes, the children are 2 feet tall. My notes are 4 feet tall.
Okay.
But I wanted to, it's like, I call it full contact education at
There we go.
P2L.
Okay.
You know, because everything we learn about, we're going to touch. If we learn about something red, yellow, blue, you're going to touch it. We're doing the number 8. Teacher Dwight brought the biggest octopus to school. You can have a fly. You
Okay.
know, I want you to touch and feel the education. Know what you're talking about. Know what you feel. Feel it. Let it absorb. Absorb yourself in it, and enjoy it. Because it's about connection. Connection. The more you connect to, and the more experience you get, it's easier to master.
And just a question. So sorry, did you finish all 3 classes?
Those are classes, yes,
It's like,
sir.
I'm gonna go through the minute. That's like about 13 classes for my 3-year-old. But we forgot to talk about your education background into you becoming an educator.
Okay. Well, what happened? I went to the Berklee College of Music. That was my formal stuff. And when I came back,
To become a teacher or to learn about music?
I actually
Or the same
did
thing?
professional performance. I didn't want to do education purposely.
Okay.
We had like the Sean Haywoods and the Johnny Wood. All those guys did education. I wanted to perform. I was a performer. But I came to Bermuda. I taught at Cedar Bridge. I taught at Sands
Taught as a music teacher?
as a music teacher.
Okay, yeah.
And Commissioner Kalmar Richards always tried to make a space for me and to encourage me to actually come to the classroom. But I felt I was a performer, but here I am.
Shout
Here
out
I
to
am.
Ms. Richards.
Yes, Miss Richards, Miss Kalmar Richards is amazing.
So, and so let me get technical a bit here, because in order to have a preschool, the regulations require the teacher in charge to be quote unquote properly qualified.
Yes.
And so talk to me about your journey in that aspect so that
Okay.
people understand that you are qualified to do what you're doing.
Yes. So what I did was I had to re-educate myself or go outside of my skin and take the required courses through regulation, through government regulation.
So at Bermuda College?
No,
Okay,
I took it online. I did some
Okay.
online courses in order to qualify myself to
Okay.
actually be in charge
Okay.
for the PIC. They have special PIC courses,
Yeah.
which was pretty rigorous, but very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. It opened my mind. It was just another avenue to open my mind and
Okay.
show. One thing I do know, we need to show a lot more, be more cognizant of not what we say and just teach our children, but actually respect our children. Because I'm older, so I'm over 60. So when I said why,
Looking good, that's for sure.
So when I asked my dad about why, go sit down, why? You know, it was pop, pop, pop. No. But now the children, they really want to know why. But if you take the time to listen to the entire sentence, it's why can't I do it now? Because I can do it at school.
Okay, I got you. And to be honest, for me, right, what I do is I don't call them children; they're little people.
The little,
It's a
I'm telling
different
you.
perspective altogether.
Mhm.
So I got you.
And the you know, it's constant development. All it is if you have a child in your vicinity, in your household or anywhere, it is the same as having a video camera on 24/7 with pristine audio. They know everything, they hear everything, they see everything. So watch what you say and do
Okay.
in your household. And the amazing part, what amazes me with children is you get a school full of 30, 40 kids. Every household has different rules and they're different.
Yes.
But they make sense of all of that when they're together at school somehow.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I tell my staff, if you're not learning more from the kids than they are from you, you're in the wrong school.
Well,
Because every child has something for you every single day.
and I'm gonna come back to you in a minute. talk to us about the size of the school. How many educators do you have there, and how many children do you have?
We have Teacher Tell.
Hi.
We have Teacher Bibiana from Zimbabwe. We have Teacher Mitch from the Philippines. And we have Teacher Crystal Simons from Dominican Republic.
Wow.
When we say culture, we say culture.
So it's 3 from overseas and you 2?
Yes, sir.
5, okay.
Yes, sir.
And how many students do you have?
Right now we have just above 20. We just had our graduation class. So, but we usually hover around 30, 32 kids.
Gotcha. And so, is it correct? Does the school year start for you like on Tuesday, or is it how does the preschool year run as compared to the
You want to take it?
other system?
Sure. So we are year round. We take maybe 2 weeks breaks total throughout the year. But we don't teach. Our school year finishes in June along with everyone else.
So
and
standardized school year.
Yes, and then we hop into our summer program where we review, but then we do more creative, less academic lessons throughout the summer. More exploration as opposed to teaching concepts and getting them ready for school. It's more fun, quote unquote, in the summertime, yeah.
So outdoor stuff,
Yeah,
field trips,
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Even the stuff indoors, you know, they did a study.
Our children prefer to stay indoors because our facility is so wonderful.
Okay. And where is it, by the way?
It's on the corner right next to Delwood School, 10 North Street by TCD.
Delwood School, TCD.
Right on the corner, right up.
In the Salvation Army building.
Oh, Salvation Army.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're on the top floor, on the second floor.
All right.
10 North Street.
So it's also convenient then. I mean,
Oh,
just parents come in town, drop the children off, go work, come back and get you done.
Location.
And what time are you open and what time does it work?
We open at 7:45 and you have up till 6 p.m. to pick your kid.
So 7:45 to 6
p.m.
You can drop children. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, and what we do, we have 2 different shifts for our teachers, so it's not a teacher there from 7:30 to 6 and just fast asleep or, you know. So we stagger start our teachers and we rotate week to week.
Okay, so again, to the listening audience, thank you for joining us here on Magic 102.7. On your Sunday evening, I keep saying that because it's, again, for me, it's incredible that you are taking time out to listen, first of all, to pay attention and to take notes. You can call in a few minutes on 297-1027. People are already sending messages to 538-8683 via WhatsApp. You'll get to those in a minute. The guest this evening is Mr. Dwight Hart and and Teacher Tao. I've been corrected. Do not call her by her parent-given names because that's a whole different ball game. A positive ball game, by the way. But Teacher Tao from Perform to Learn, and we've just learned, or a few minutes ago now, that it is, correct me if I'm wrong though, a performance-based school, which is obviously teaching children, but in a different, from a different perspective. Yeah.
Yes.
About 5 teachers, or educators I call them, and about 20 children. And talk to us about the attraction. How do you, so right now, you have 20. How would you get the enrollment up? How does it go in terms of me wanting my child to come or not come and all that kind of stuff?
Well, yes, like I said, we're a year-round school.
Yeah.
So you can give us a call. We'll make sure that we give you a tour. We make sure that the facility is something that you're interested in first of all, before you even enroll it.
Okay.
And we watch, during the tours, we watch the child react to the facility itself. Because that's very important.
Yes.
If we do a tour, the child walks through the door, through the entire, and walks out with his hands in his pocket. Not at all.
And so is it correct then that when I come to do my tour, bring my child?
Oh, if you don't bring your child, you can't come, sir. You are not invited.
I mean, again, it's refreshing because obviously all of this is child focused.
It is. It is.
Okay.
You know, I stood on a committee one time, and the head of the committee, we were talking about kids and children, you know, and trying to get the understanding. Her son said, you know what, if you want to understand children, every board that has to do with child development should have a child worker.
Yes, yes. Well, again, it's very
That's
powerful.
deep.
And you know, to be honest, it's one of those things whereby you cannot help anybody or any situation without actually pressing themselves. What help do you need? What help do you require? And you may not give them all that they want, but they are in the best position to give you the advice to how to help me.
That's the source. They are the source.
So Ms. Lee, you're bouncing off the chair to say something. Go for it. About your motivation.
Yeah. So the last time I touched this mic, I was expressing to you of the classes that we held.
Yes.
Which is about 12, right?
Which is crazy in terms of like, so
but
my child is 3 years old, right, and learning all these things, all these subjects.
With 5 teachers?
Yes.
What? how do we make that happen, Mr. Hart? So what we do is we have rotations, right? First of all, let's talk about the structure of our facility.
Yeah, so it's Monday morning or whatever, Tuesday morning, whatever day you do. Okay.
Let me set the scene.
Let
me set the scene.
You
So
also
come up in
wow.
Tales of Tao. Teacher Tao from Tales of Tao. Anyhow, you come up in the elevator, right? The elevator opens and you see this bald-headed man with a Spider-Man suit on, and he goes, "Welcome to our school." You know, something's wrong with you. It's wonderful. Something's wonderfully wrong with this one right here.
Okay.
All teachers know something wonderfully wrong with them. But anyhow, you come in, the first 2 classes you see is our dance studio, which is equipped with dance floors and mirrors, right?
Like a real dance studio.
A real dance studio. And to the right of that is our art studio. We have paint, there's like a bucket spilling out paint art facility, which is gorgeous, right? Colorful, but every room, every subject has its own room.
So you have 12 or 13 or 14 rooms?
Oh,
all these spaces?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
okay.
10 spaces. But we double up class, some multi-purpose, right? So we have the art studio, right? Then you come through, and the next space that you encounter is our theater. So we have chairs, we have a newsroom where children go up and they take their mic and they stand behind the news station and they tell us about their day. They tell us, you know, whatever we're talking about. We really let them get up there and express themselves. And there we got to really dig into their minds and really figure out what they know, what they've learned, what they're interested in. You know, they also have dress up. They have a dress up in there as well. So it's the theater, but it's our imagination room, really. Right. So then you go in a bit deeper, and there you find our grocery store, our miniature grocery store. Yep. So we have we have our shelves up on the walls. We have our Bermuda money printed out. We have our everything. It's a grocery store, just shrunk down to their size. Actually, teachers have to kneel on
okay.
But they love it. Our children love it. Okay, and then you go on a bit farther and we have our ice cream truck. We have our ice cream truck. So we know we teach children about how to manage a business. We have and he will tell you. I'm all into his territory now.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So, you know, we teach our children about, you know, make sure your store looks nice. Your customers are coming. How much money did you make? What's left? How many more scoops of ice cream do you have? So in these spaces, you know, we can teach math.
Yes.
We can teach colors.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's get back into it. Oh, this school's awesome. Listen.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Without a child, my children
could be back. Then we have our library, which doubles as our sensory room, which is on top of the grocery store. And there, you know, our teachers take them up there. We read books. We have sensory objects. We use it like as a calm down room. You know, every space has its calm down chair. That's set by, you know, regulations. But that's our calm down room. We really go in there and we, you know, just let the children lay off and, you know, read picture books, go, you know, so on and so forth. It's called the Imagination Station. Yeah. So that's really our extracurricular rooms. And then you go in even deeper to our school, and we have what would have been an open floor plan that we divided into sections, right? So this is where all of the academics really take place. So how I explain it to parents when I'm doing tours, I just got them to imagine middle school in Bermuda and what that's like. You know, we go from primary school where we have our one teacher, and, you know, we're in our room with Mr. Critchlow. Shout out to Mr. Critchlow, my P6 teacher. Hey. And you know, Mr. Critchlow, wonderful teacher, but he teaches us math, English, he teaches us all our core subjects, right? Whereas middle school, you have Mr. Deal, you have, hey, my teachers are with me, hey.
Okay.
But you got it, right? Mr. Deal teaches social studies, then you got Miss Eversley English. And throughout the day, the children got to rotate. That's why we call them rotations. to really absorb each class and each student and each teacher. So we similarly do that, but not quite. But that's the closest example that we give, right? So when you come in our big room, we have our school bus. We have a school bus, yes. And then we have our culture room. And then we have our STEM room. In our culture room, we have we give our children passports.
Yes.
And as they visit each country, well, first of all, our curriculum is 40 weeks long. Okay. Some of our subjects switch topics every 2 weeks. Our main academic switch every 4 weeks. So for culture in total, they learn about 20 different countries, right? So at the end of our school year, they would have visited 20 different countries. We have a giant globe hanging from the ceiling. Every room is just, your child is really able to engulf themselves in the subject. All the rooms that I've listed, you can walk in there and tell that it's that, just by how the facility looks, how it's set up. So we have our STEM room, we have a rocket ship on the wall, dinosaurs, we got a astronaut hanging from the ceiling.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome in there. And then we have our preschool 101 class. So that's set up more like a traditional classroom. So in there, our children are really able to still experience the facility of a typical classroom, not necessarily the style of teaching, but they got to really be in there and get the structure. To where in our other classrooms is a bit more flexibility. We still want to make sure our children have that foundation so that they leave us, they're still being exposed to it and they're not completely ostracized as far as the experiences that they hear within our school. And then we have our math classroom. We do have STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but we also have math as well, to where we focus on the foundation, which is colors, shapes, numbers, to where in mathematics with STEM, they're doing more like experiments, building things, more of the science side of it. But in math, we focus on the preschool readiness as well. Alongside preschool 101.
And so, as a non-educator, how did you develop is there like an international curriculum that helped you to do all these things, or whose creative mind got you to do all this stuff in this way? You talked about inspiration, right? But how did you get to do all these things in such a fashion and make sure that the children are meeting the needs, the academic needs or the learning needs to get to P1?
So as Mr. Simons suggested earlier, there is a founder who created, through her experiences, her personal experiences and the experiences that she gained abroad, she conceptualized the idea of rotations and founded P2L. And built the P2L, the location where we're at now, and then she ran on and created 2 other locations in the US. So we are, I wouldn't say a franchise, but that's how we started. Of course, with when she started it, the regulations set by health department, the culture of Bermuda and everything else, it has changed since then. So I'm sure if she was to come back and take a look, it won't be what she recognized, but we have had the unique opportunity to take her vision and change it to a way that fits our culture, that fits the regulations set by us, by health department.
And to ask the obvious question, clearly you have been, whatever the word is now, examined or licensed by government to operate?
Yes, we're regulated by government.
And what was the process for them to come and look and understand of what is so different and say, you know what, yes, was it easy? Did they say yes right away? Did they say, hey, let's check this thing out? Or how did it actually go?
Well, what it is the government, they come into the school, they have an inspection, and back in the day, we had one teacher for like 30 kids and stuff like that. And it worked because of the way the world was. But now, today, we have these structures. And what happens is, as everybody knows, with regulation comes money.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So we follow the government's regulations, like how many teachers per child.
Ratios.
We're talking about ratios. We're talking
Yes.
about ratios. A 2-year-old, 1 teacher to 4, 2 to 14.
Yeah.
A 3-year-old, 1 teacher to like 5 or 7, 2 to 20.
Okay.
So we're regulated.
Yes.
And of course, it's an expense to us, and we have to absorb a level of this cost. But one thing it does do, the basic stuff, is the safety of the children.
Right.
They come in, we know that all our teachers are first aid certified, AED certified. It brings a great level of it. There you go.
And so, well, my question is, I may use the wrong word, but you have a non-traditional process,
Yes.
right? And so I'm asking, what happened in terms of government coming to say, yes, it's okay, because you're not standardized. A lot of times, I'll say this, a lot of times what happens is, when we are non-standard, it's difficult to be accepted by mainstream. So how did that work?
I'm going to give it to Troy, and
Sure.
I want to thank you for picking up on that, because that's one of our pushbacks. But go ahead. So
That was a major challenge for P2L too. You're right.
Come to the mic. Okay,
Can you? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was a major challenge to try to get P2L working in the current environment. You're right. There's a, when I got involved, it was kind of new regulations just being imposed post 9/11. What am I saying? 9/11. COVID.
Yes.
Why was 9/11?
Wrong
COVID.
disaster.
Yeah, wrong disaster.
Wrong.
Thank you.
Yes, I was.
Should have remembered. So
It's the salt in the water.
so COVID had really made a big impact, and the health department was now implementing regulations that apparently had been written or supposedly had been written years ago and making major changes. So you're absolutely right. Trying to get P2L to function in a way that moved, meaning children were able to move to different areas, into different classrooms. I mean, you can imagine during COVID that was absolutely a no-no.
Exactly.
So everything shut down and changed. And coming out of it, yes, it was really, really hard work. And trying to get teachers to learn this, because basically once they went into COVID, the entire school kind of shifted back to traditional methods, and remote teaching, all kinds of things. But coming out of that and getting teachers to try to implement the original methodology was quite taxing. I mean, people were brought in from overseas. Teachers were actually, the teachers we have now, in fact, one was actually trained. There was one teacher we mentioned from Zimbabwe that was actually trained in play-based learning and the centers, because over the last 10 years some of this methodology has actually been practiced in China, and it's also sort of migrated into Africa. And this particular teacher, Bibiana, was exposed to that kind of lessons as well. So we had to actually look far and wide to find people who could now fit it, and we've done we've been very blessed to kind of have captured these kind of people who have brought that kind of talent to bear. And now it's actually functioning, I think, in the way that that we see is really great for the children, and it's also been revolutionary in the way it's moving forward.
Oh, but what happens I'm asking a question, I guess, in terms of, is there a testing regime to make sure your children are meeting what's necessary to get to P1? Because I'm still focusing on, maybe wrong, but non-traditional, right? So what did they do to make sure that, guess what you're telling me is okay for the children to progress into mainstream school at age 5 or whatever they get to?
So regulators today are the health department, right?
Yes.
And the health department primarily, I'm answering this the long way, but primarily what they do is they look at the infrastructure and the safety of the children. But they have been moving more into the curriculum and what's being taught. They have been focusing more on that and helping with that. There are some basic entry, requirements.
Right, they got to know your name and all those kind of things.
Well, yeah, I mean, colors, ABCs, and that type of thing. And so yes, the regulator is helping with those things, but they don't regulate hard and fast. This is what it is. Having said that, regulators have been completely supportive on what they want you know, and when I say supportive, they'll come and say, this is what we expect is being covered. I think you're going too far, or I think that is too complex for the children. You know, they need to know this. The regulator today has a very interactive relationship with
And by the way, are you speaking about Bermuda?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there is somebody, and doesn't matter who it is, I'm asking a question that,
I could
so
call
there is
your
a
name
regulator,
Allison
right?
Daniels, but I didn't. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine, that's the question. So she will come in,
Her team basically is
observe the lessons, for example, and then decide whether or not you're too technical or otherwise. Okay, good.
Yeah, so historically, you know, the regulator had a very different role. And what I've seen over the last 3 years, that regulator really get up front and personal. You know, they get to know you and they get to understand the school, and they are basically trying to curtail and make sure the school not only is set, you know, ticking the boxes of health and safety and the other things, but really trying to be, I guess, best practice.
That's interesting, Michael, because it's for me it's interesting in terms of the preschool is regulated by the health department, but it's an educational facility. And it's very refreshing to hear you say that they come in and they do the lesson observation and they give comment in terms of the lesson content to make sure that the end product is what's supposed to be.
Yeah,
so that's
it's been it's a really active, lively relationship. I mean, it's improved, of course. You know, it didn't start there. We were kicking and fighting, and you know, on both sides trying to make it work, and mainly because as was mentioned earlier by Teacher Dwight. You know, when these new regulations came in, they didn't bring help, if you know what I mean. They brought regulations.
Yes.
They didn't say, okay, this is the paycheck, this is the check to help. They said, these are the regulations. So trying to transform it and make it match everything that these new regulations done was, you know, tedious, hard work, and costly. But, and you know, I think it's a journey. So, you know, things improve and change over time. And I think all preschools have been through that. And it's made a major change, actually. Yeah. I mean, in the industry, you know, lots of preschools went out of business, as Teacher Tao mentioned. Others have morphed into something completely different. Yes. And I think, you know, P2L has changed as well. I mean, today, you know, we are boasting about these foreign teachers, but, and the reason why we're talking about foreign teachers as something foreign is because it's so new. In 15 years, it's 14 years, it's first time, you know, it's had foreign teachers. Now, we've always known the capabilities of foreign teachers, but I, for one, was vehemently sort of fighting to say, you know, we need to be protecting this industry for local teachers, etc., etc. I admit that. Sure. However, I will say that, you know, having teachers that are, you know, very qualified, committed to it, etc., is really, really huge. And so. Yeah. Just saying the impact and the difference of all of the change. You know, it's been tremendous, and I think parents today see a completely different product than I think preschools. You know, going back historically, you know, even 3 years ago it was different. So 5, 10, 15, it just gets more and more different.
So, I'm going to come back to that because I think that beyond, in addition to what you guys have said, the idea of culture being taught to these young children, and as you said, you have 3 teachers from overseas. But before we go there, talk to him about the cost. So I have a child who is, I don't know, whatever, 2, 3, 4 years old, and they want to come to school. How much does it cost to come to P2L?
Okay,
and do the children also qualify for the government subsidy?
Yes, absolutely. They qualify for the government subsidy. The average, I think they subsidize like $900.
Depends upon the
Depends on the parent situation, of course. That's up to them, not us. But for 2-year-olds, it's $14.50
a month
per month, and for when they
so $14.50 means $1,450.
Correct.
Okay. I'm smiling. My children out, so I don't know.
From 2 to 4 is $14.50. When they go 4, it goes down to $13.50 on the way out.
So tell me again. So 2 to 4 is $14.50.
Correct.
So $14.50, and then $14.50, and then 4 to 5.
$13.50.
So I save $100. Okay, got you. So that's real. That's real money. That's rent.
Yes. Now the subsidy they subsidize. The average subsidy is $900 though per family.
Okay.
So they end up paying like $550.
And so it may be an unfair question, but do you find that most of the parents require the subsidy?
I do.
Okay,
yes. Today things have really changed. Things have
and again, you know, for me, it's quite refreshing to know that's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
And doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it's too expensive. It just means it's a lot of money. And we get back to that same idea of value orientation. What do I perceive as the value of what I'm getting? Helps me to understand this is okay. It's an investment.
Let me say this part of it. It's the $1,450, but they get $900.
Yes.
What did I want to say?
I can piggyback.
P2L helps you. Yeah,
in
you
the
are excellent.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
Kick right in.
Thank you. Thank you.
All the energy.
Yeah. So in the typical daycare, they have similar, not exactly the same extracurricular services that we provide, but they do bring in services externally. I do know because I was one. I used to have a external music business where I used to go around to daycares and teach music. So they bring in people teaching music, gymnastics, you name it. What they call it? Anyhow, karate. And these parents. Martial arts, yeah. Sorry to offend you.
Karate is very specific.
And there's a lot of co-pays that go with that. With our daycare, we don't offer any external programs that the parents have to pay extra for. We also have tennis. We bring in instructors. Over the summer break, we had a collaboration with Bermuda Dance Academy where they came and taught our children for 8 weeks. So that's a service that we bring in people and we offer other services and don't charge them an extra fee for it. We also give them
that's your promo. That's your promo. It's $1,450, but that's all in. It's all inclusive.
It's all inclusive.
Go for it. It's all inclusive. So parents out there, you may think a lot of money, but guess what? You pay $1,450. That's all you pay. You apply if you can. Get the government subsidy. It comes down to $550, and it's an investment in your child's education. They get all this stuff. They get 12 lessons. Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
And a world class drummer, right? You play drums.
Yes.
No, she can. World class drummer who brings all this expertise. A teacher that's super bubbly. I couldn't imagine this.
That's
super bubbly. I would not want to see you when you're not happy or when you're not yourself.
Child can't get angry.
Crazy.
And all these children get.
But what I wanted to say was, we are changing our facility consistently with the regulations and the so-called best practices.
Yes.
So we're knocking on walls just to facilitate. Now the new rule is 25 square feet per child.
Well.
Yes, best practice. I don't know, baby. I don't know wherever it is, but we have to comply. So now we need to knock down walls and figure out how to keep our numbers appropriate according to our, you know what I mean? And there's no stipend. I appreciate the $900 to the parent, but there's no stipend for the actual facilities to make changes to survive.
And sorry, so just because I don't know this, the 25
square feet per child,
it's in an open plan, or can it be like the total facility has to facilitate that?
It is livable. If it was livable square feet. So if you have a piece of furniture, it's minus that square footage in that furniture.
Wow.
Yes.
They don't deduct from square footage, though. They deduct from child. So you might have a room that you can have 4.5 children in that room.
Yeah. So something like if where we used to have back in the day history, where I had a classroom of 16 kids. Now I can have 4.
Wow.
So the size of your facility may come down to whether you remain open or closed.
And so what's beautiful about this, by the way, the program is always constructive, so it's not like, okay, bashing government or whatever kids.
No, not at all.
But having said that, help us to understand, because that's not something that the average person would understand.
No,
you know
that's
what I mean?
true.
So that basically, I guess what I'm asking also is that if you put more furniture in the school,
classroom
potentially means less children.
Yeah, their square footage is deducted. Yes, exactly.
So how are you managing that?
Let me tell you.
What is the process by which there is constructive engagement with government to understand the practicality of regulations?
One of the things that
this is our non-speaker tonight.
Yeah,
I told you he couldn't resist.
His fourth cameo. Go ahead.
The regulators have really been, as I say, working with us because
with us, like
P2L, and I think they're working with the industry generally. I mean, you know, I have to say that I was probably, I was probably hard to work with from a regulatory perspective, because I really thought that the regulator should come with something more than, you know, the regulations have changed, that
Yes.
you need to spend lots of money, time, and energy to change everything.
Yes.
Plus, you know, government also has its own preschools, and they aren't held to the same standards. But that's another, yeah. You know,
That's correct.
Or ratios.
yeah, or ratios.
In
So just shocking,
government,
right?
in government
That's correct.
preschool,
Yeah.
in government preschool, they can have, the ratio is 1 to 10.
Yeah.
That's one teacher to 5. With all,
Help my math. 1 to 10, 1 to 5.
I'm sorry, 1 to 10. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I
See,
apologize.
no, I'm paying attention.
Yeah. What I meant to say, where the 5 came from, the younger the child, the smaller the ratio.
Which makes sense, right?
Which does make sense, but not when you compare it to what's required from a government standpoint, right?
Wow.
So our preschool ratio is 1 to 7, 1 to 8, between 7 and 8
So
children.
that means that a teacher can have 8 2-year-olds? Was it
Okay.
7.
Ratio for a 2-year-old class is 1 to 4.
Which means that I'm
One
a teacher,
teacher,
I have 4 children.
4 children.
Okay.
If I get a 2-year-old, I need another teacher. So it's 1 to 4, 2 to 14. 3-year-olds is like 1 to 5, 2 to.
I'm actually Googling it so we can get the actual
Go for
numbers.
it.
That's all.
Go for it.
2 to 14. But basically, you know, it means that it's a little,
cost.
Yeah,
it's more stringent if you're in a private
Double your
institution.
staff.
But if you
And-
think about the history, like I said, I came up teaching at Fresh Tragical Nursery. We was all in Jennifer Seymour. The whole school was in Jennifer Seymour's living room.
Right.
Right? And that really, it aided in character development. We was able to teach our children about the culture and, you know, the hospitality of Bermudians.
Yes.
You know, and our children was safe. They was covered by God.
Yes, gotcha.
You know, so we have had one of the downfalls that I can say coming from the new regulations is we've lost that Bermudian touch. Our children aren't exposed to the heart of Bermuda through teachers. We now have to, like, we can't hug children. Well, we can, you know, give them a half hug, but we have to ask permission. This goes back to what you mentioned earlier with what Pastor Lamb said this morning about how teachers shouldn't be parenting, right? But back then, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We filled in the gaps. Wherever we saw a gap, in whatever child, you know, whatever gap they needed, we filled it. But now it's kind of harder to, like, they're not just regulating the facility and what's being taught, but the regulating. I mean, some regulations are good, but it's we're losing that Bermudian, the true Bermudian feeling to it.
Well, I guess historically it was a cottage industry, you know,
Yeah.
where young women got involved because they knew children, they'd raised them themselves, and now, you know, the health department's regulating it because they're, you know, concerned about health and safety, etc.
Which again, you got to give credit to the fact that
Yeah.
in some instances there have been incidents whereby you need to have this regulation,
Yeah.
so it is generic. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
there are pros and cons, but
Yeah.
you know, in Bermuda, they say we're kind of unique, and we're from the village mentality. You know, the whole neighborhood raised each child.
Sure.
But when you bring best practice from other countries
Yes.
that don't apply to Bermuda, our pushback is just please don't kill the village.
Sure.
Right.
The village mentality, because that's who we are and that's where we came from. That's
So
all.
even coming from COVID and adjusting to the regulations, one thing that we always talk about is how do we keep that spirit while adjusting to the regulations. And we truly believe, though, even though our teachers are foreigners, they each have a different level of passion, of experience that adds to it. You know, we have our Bermudian teachers, so they still got, you know, the Bermudian vibes.
Right.
But it's so much that our teachers offer, and we do want to dive into that as well.
So actually, and you know,
To get back to
there's lots to talk about,
ratios,
right? But I want to get to the cultural aspect because the children in my mind are so young in my mind, right?
Yes.
As a non-educator, so I'm not picking that piece up. But to list audience again, thank you for joining us here on Magic 102.7 on your Sunday evening for this edition of Insight. We have in studio our guests. We're talking about starting from the beginning, which is preschool preparation for our children. And we have in audience this evening was guest Mr. Dwight Hart, who is the teacher in charge, and teacher Tao, who might not be listed as teacher in charge, but I guess very much so.
I'm the academic consultant.
You are the everybody, everything. So the Energizer Bunny for sure.
You know they call me a master of all trades.
But not,
I think I'm the first person to ever have that name.
So let's now talk about, I want to understand more about the cultural aspect, because it's quite unique for me that you have intentionally teaching children about culture. You have this worldwide experience. You said you do 20 countries in 40 weeks. So talk to me about the brainchild behind that, and how does it work, and give us maybe an example. And also, it's a long question, why teach, not why, but how come Spanish as opposed to, I don't know, French or whatever else, whatever other subject?
So I'll do the foreign language part.
Okay.
So we have teacher Crystal, who's from the Dominican Republic. Getting back to our teachers, because our teachers are the passion that drives it all.
Okay.
Our teachers, we allow our teachers to present classes and subjects according to their personal interest. So teacher Crystal, who is a teacher from Dominican Republic, culture was the foundation class. And with that, she was like, can I start teaching Spanish? So she really drove the Spanish. I myself I teach sign language to this day. I do expose them to sign. It's not a full class, but I am fluent into sign language. So our children are exposed to that as well. Started in our new curriculum during our circle times, our teachers are also going to be teaching certain commands, and not the full language, not as deep as Spanish, right? But they'll be teaching certain commands: bathroom, help, water, sit down, be quiet, colors, numbers, shapes, in the languages that our teachers bring to the table. So we're going to be exposing them to multiple languages, not in a way that's too much, but they're going to be exposed to that as well. So all that to say, we do allow our teachers to bring their own personal interest to the table. We're allowing our teachers to grow and to contribute, and also to continue to feel like they're in a place where they're growing and learning and thriving.
So when you said, for example, you can teach things like bathroom, you're talking about teach that in multiple languages, or you're talking about sign language?
In each language that our teacher brings. So Shona from teacher Baby, and teacher Mitch.
So each teacher has their own language, and they'll teach those 5 or 6 or 10, whatever they are.
Well, not teach, more expose. So during circle time. So circle time is it's like when our whole school comes together for 15 minutes before they break off into their lessons, and usually we just sing an alphabet song, a good morning song, a shape song in English. So each teacher has a day where they do circle time. So we actually got together and we all decided that going forward into our new school year, we're gonna maybe sing an alphabet song, and in Shona they do our alphabet, but let's sing a Spanish alphabet song. Let's sing. So we're not teaching them, but we're just exposing them to those different commands and things within circle time.
And one thing I'll say as a parent, which we all know this, there's not so much too much, because remember, children can absorb all kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And so if you want to teach them language, then feel free to do so, because they will get it from young.
It took me 4 years to learn sign language. So.
But you didn't imagine, your person did even faster. Sorry.
And teacher Crystal is a lawyer, is a trained lawyer, and she is trained
lawyer.
In Dominican Republic.
And and of course she's a Montessori teacher as well. So
not of course, I don't know, but okay.
Sorry, not of course, but you're right. So she's doing things that she comes with a wealth of capability, and these are the things that's been
all of our
exciting
really.
About having these new teachers. She comes in as something special. Now she's doing Spanish and she's doing culture. Teacher Bibiana is from Zimbabwe, and it's really exciting to hear her teaching children about drums and how they're used culturally. To communicate, to do music, to ceremonially, then totems. I didn't even know what a totem was. Right?
That was my question. What's a totem?
Yeah, so a totem is almost like a horoscope. That's the closest thing I can do to it. So basically, when you go back in time, Africans lived near or around certain deities almost, right, that they respected.
Okay.
And those deities became your totem. So for example, the lion could be a totem, the heart could be a totem, the river could be, the water can be a totem, and it's something you kind of have a special relationship with. And the children for a day, they'll come in and I heard them say, I'm a lion totem, and just teaching them, exposing that type of thing. So it just brings a different exposure or a broader exposure to the world and people that are around. I mean, even the students that are coming, they're no longer just everybody. I talked about my mom's school from everybody from West Pembroke. These are children from Africa and all over the world, quite frankly.
Yes.
And them being exposed to all, I mean, they can see it around them, and I can imagine their experience is so much different than ours.
So are you saying, for example, so the student population includes perhaps children from
all over the world? That's also changed. As you know, our working population is changing.
Okay.
And so that is, I got the opportunity to speak to a Zimbabwean parent that was, I'm looking for a preschool, and I said, I got a Zimbabwean teacher. Oh my God, it is just,
I think it's fair to say we have about 60% that is 50 to 60% of our children are Bermudian.
So half and half. Good. That's good. That's
about,
good. That's good mix. Okay. So there's lots of extra questions and comments to Rick. You were going to say something earlier, I believe. So let me do this, right? So I don't forget. Is you're being very, I guess, polite or kind in terms of your overseas experience, right? To give us a little bit about that, about how that has impacted you. And you talked about going to the Dana-Farber and the other cancer place. So I understood that, right? Which gave you the passion to stay with these children. You'll see them like 6 months, 12, a year into it. That's a passion. But what I want to understand is how your drumming experience, your touring experience, right, has impacted you and how you're translating that now to Bermuda.
Okay. I'm from the Battlefield family, Spanish Point. Spanish Point in the heart, the Battlefield. My grandfather was a drummer. My Uncle Charlie Battlefield was a drummer, Pembroke Park. And he gave me my first drum set when I was about 6. It was a professional drum set. I took it very seriously. I practiced every day. My first public performance was at the Jungle Room.
Way back. She was alive, yeah.
And it was reading charts. And I had to read a chart. I was very upset. I had to read a music chart when I was back in the Gandy Burgess Orchestra. Yes. My mentor was Tootsie Bean, who had me from the age of 7. Okay. By the age of 9, he had me reading and writing music. I've been pretty much everywhere. Which has been a blessing. So when I go to the classroom, and let's say this month we're doing Japan, I say, oh, I spent time in Osaka. Okay. You know what I mean? So I could actually talk about a real life experience versus going to the YouTube or just showing you stuff. Like I said, I call it full contact education. I'm going to tell them about my experience. I've had experiences many places. I had a 4-year contract on the strip in Las Vegas, with the Hines brothers, all right. So now I can bring that. Listen, I can talk about the desert. It's not just about the music. It's about everything that the journey brings. Okay. And I bring it and I bring it to life in the classroom. And if you can do that from a personal experience, it's much different from doing it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, and again, that's for all of us. It's to understand that our life experiences, as Troy said, now, we are the sum of our experiences. Yeah. And that's a brilliant way in terms of how you can bring this to the classroom, because you can say, I did, I read it, and talk about it, which obviously adds a lot to the children. Yes.
I would love to talk about our teachers also and what they bring, our other teachers and what they bring to the table.
We'll do that, because that's all part of what I want to talk about, which is the cultural aspect. So do that. So Bermudian, yes, lots of international experience, which actually impacts the culture of what you deliver in the classroom. And because Teacher Tao wants to make
I would like to think it's more like we think of UFOs. He's like the captain of the UFO. Not Bermudian. It's like out of this world.
So talk to us about the teachers. So from your perspective, right?
Yes.
About the cultural, what I want to call the cultural enrichment, and the difference that you believe you guys make than other schools.
Well, first let me speak about Bermudian teachers. Like Mr. Simon said before, we only hired. Well, yes, but historically we had all Bermudians. Teacher Crystal was our first foreign teacher, but she's lived in she married a Bermudian 20 plus years ago.
Okay.
So she's Bermudian, but raised in Dominican Republic. The culture with teachers in Bermuda, like he said, is how did he put it? He put it so well.
What do you mean?
Is basically back then, according to regulations, you was able to teach without being certified.
Yes.
This was the culture, and after a certain amount of years, they granted you your teaching status due to time served. Now, that's a regulation that they changed maybe even pre-COVID they changed, but the culture of the Bermudians has been slow to adjust to that. So the typical Bermudian within private daycare isn't really motivated to get educated. So there are some that, were teaching uneducated with time served.
Recently uneducated meaning not that, it's more so didn't have a technical qualification.
Don't have a technical qualification.
Okay.
Associate's degree now is the minimum requirement, which is, it was always recognized. In order to become a teacher, you would become what is called a provisional teacher for 5 to 7 years, and they would keep an eye on you.
Right.
You would your classroom would have to be situated between 2 fully qualified teachers, and your ratios would have been less than the typical ratio.
Gotcha.
So they have abolished that completely, and the requirement now is you need a minimum of an associate's. So the culture, like I said, has changed to where we even had to let some Bermudian teachers go because they didn't meet the new requirements that were set. With that being said, our teachers now, they have teacher Bibiana, she's a psychologist and a registered psychologist in Zimbabwe. So she's her teaching with us, and on the weekends and afternoons, she's doing online therapy sessions with teenagers still in Zimbabwe. Okay. We have teacher Mitch, who's from the Philippines, who has 3 bachelor's degree, one also in child psychology, and she's currently studying online, getting her master's. We have teacher Crystal, who is a lawyer. She's a lawyer in Dominican Republic. So if there's anybody that has financial problems in the DR, just come to Town North Street and find teacher Crystal, and she'll help you out. Yeah. But she got her Montessori certifications while in Bermuda. So that's how she switched into teaching. If she was her, she would say, you know what? Because her family, her uncle is actually the lawyer of the Prime Minister of Dominican Republic. Okay. So her family is rich with lawyers. But that wasn't her passion. She could have very well still been in DR right now and been a very smart lawyer. Yeah. But her passion is children, and she loves Bermuda. So she's her with us. So, all of our teachers could very well be somewhere else in the world doing amazing things, but their love and passion for children is what we see within them, and why our team is so wonderful, so rich. So teacher Mitch, she's actually the eldest of 9 siblings in the Philippines. So she's very soft-spoken, but also very passionate when teaching. But she brings that motherly royal, right? She steps up and puts her foot on when needed. I often say she's the person that she's got her pen in her back pocket and she brings it out and she crosses all the T's and dots all the I's. Okay, good. We'll be discussing and she'll be like, "No, guys, listen, hold on 1 minute. We need to do this. Let's not forget that." So she's awesome. She's awesome. And as the eldest of 9, you can imagine, we in Bermuda back then, we all came from big families as well. And that eldest, we know the passion and the love that, being the eldest of so many children can bring, because we have so many of them in our families. So we love that for teacher Mitch. Okay. Then we have teacher Bibi. Okay. She really brings the cultural, the structure with, the totems that Mr. Simon was talking about. With that, what they actually do, they associate animals with characteristics. So lion is courage. They speak about loyalty, love.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, she's the the backbone. Really the cultural, the moral backbone, and she does it with grace.
Okay, gotcha.
It often sounds like this.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You see it in her face. Oh, she puts that finger up. Again, things that we can, we're a faith-based island.
Yeah.
So she reminds me of that elder that, she wasn't the pastor of the church, but, at my church it was Grand Lightborn, who's actually my daughter's godmother. When I asked her to be my daughter's godmother, she was like, Chantal, I'm like 80-something years old.
Wow. Okay.
So she reminds, like, in terms of how she can identify with what we're used to. She's that elder in the church that, she puts her foot on when necessary, but really gives us that covering and that grounding all through her experience. It's just who she is.
Sure.
It's ingrained within her. Teacher Crystal, she reminds me of, she's that next door neighbor that she's not pokey. I mean, I wouldn't call her pokey.
But she knows what's going on.
But she cares.
Yeah, okay.
She cares. She approaches you with love. She's very transparent, but she's also very discreet.
Okay.
She looks at our children and she's like, I can tell something's going on. And she'll deal with it, and if it's getting the children clothes or food, she's the glue that keeps us all together. She's the heart of P2L.
I know.
This is the H-A-R-T. Hers has an E in it.
Yeah, the E in it is also like that. Wow.
No, his is H-A-R-T. Yeah. So, although our teachers are foreigners, they each have a character similar to our rotations.
Yeah.
Right? We each, every class is a specific subject, and each of our teachers bring a unique characteristic that we identify with, but was otherwise lost, as I mentioned earlier, due to the regulations. Teacher Crystal was that teacher where, hey guys, we're going to my house for lunch. Yeah. And Teacher Jennifer, Teacher Seymour, she used to make sandwiches in her kitchen and feed the whole school. Lunch is on me. That was the culture back then.
Okay. So what you're trying to describe, I guess, is that the regulations have caused a different dynamic at the school, which takes away from some of the learning.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, question here earlier,
which is positive. I don't want to make it seem like it's
there's some
it's necessary,
negative, yes,
but definitely it causes room for things to be missed.
Sure.
I think we need to be cognizant of the measurement of how much we change,
yes,
how much we give away. Who we are, what we are, why we are.
Right.
Here in Bermuda, that's all. It's about balance and dialogue. We'll get through it. It may not be easy, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. And our team is incredible. Now,
absolutely.
Outside of
don't forget Teacher Tao. You haven't spoken. What is that? Just a wonderful voice.
Outside of the school and the staff that drive everything, and the cohesiveness and the culture and everything. For me personally, I think I've been the only male for the last 7 or 8 years in private daycare,
and so necessary.
Period. In Bermuda.
Wow.
In private, I think I'm there. And we always say how important it is for a young man to get that male figure and hear that voice. I am here to tell you, everybody, and I hope everybody hears me clearly, it is just as important or more important for our young girls and little ladies to understand what a safe male looks, sounds, and operates like.
Yes.
Just as much as our little boys.
Yes. I agree.
Because if they don't have that uncle, they need to know what is safe, who is safe, why they're safe.
Gotcha.
Not just our little boys, our little girls do too.
And so obviously you guys are fully SCAR certified. That's necessary. That's required.
And I wake up every day, and sometimes I'm there 6:15 in the morning. I'm waiting for my kid. I'm ready.
Gotcha.
I'm ready. But they're gonna hear my voice, and they're gonna feel all of us every day throughout the schools. That's why the rotations are so important. Think about this: you drop your kid off to school at 8:30, and you pick them up at 3:30. Could you imagine they have one teacher?
Primary school, yeah.
That's like you and I'm 2 years old. Better yet, you're 2 years old, listening to me from 8:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon.
Gotcha.
In our school, that's why the rotations are important. As soon as after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you're tired and bored, you go to another teaching style, another class. You know what I mean? More information. So you're more susceptible to absorb.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And if you're having fun while you do it, because if y'all are having fun, they say, hey, come on, man, 3 more minutes. You're like, okay. But if you didn't, you left 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
And that's what we want for our children, to want to be at school. To wake up, because I know when I was young, I met Miss Palmer, I couldn't wait to go to school because all my friends were there. You know what I mean? But times have changed. Children come here crying. I'm like, why are you crying?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we want that for our kids. We want that for our kids.
That's interesting, real quick too. I actually stay next to a nursery, right? And preschool, and I smile because so that means I guess next week I know I'm gonna have children crying in the morning for maybe 3 or 4 weeks or something, maybe whatever. And the parents are trying their best, but it's a natural thing. And so
all these foreign strange faces, or the new teachers they're gonna develop,
and just not close to him anymore.
Right. Everybody's in observation mode for the first 2 weeks. Who's gonna be their friend, and who they're gonna let their hair down to, and who they're not, which is very important. Which is why I would come in the morning. I'll be there in the Spider-Man suit. Okay. Everybody can relate to Spider-Man. All the time. Spider-Man. You know what I mean? It's something for a level of relief.
Sure.
It's about connection. They connect to Spider-Man. Spider-Man will walk them up. I'll go across the room. Whatever they need. Batman. One time I had a new outfit. I wear these goggles and this. It looks like a rabbit. I don't know. You see. So I said to the class, so, what does teacher do today? So half of them said a bear, the other half said a rabbit.
You have a clue.
I said, so I'm a rabbit today. You know what I mean? Because you have to touch where they are in their mind. Like if you ask me, teacher, should a preschool teacher look like? A preschool teacher should look like anything that's in their child's mind that they want you to look like at that time.
Sorry, to listeners again, thank you for joining us here on Magic 102.7. On your Sunday evening from inside, you can call in if you choose to do so now on 297-1027. I'll check the emails in a minute and the WhatsApp messages. WhatsApp is on 538-8683, and you can send in. Inside doesn't, the emails doesn't quite work because it's not as easy to get to them, but certainly you can do the WhatsApp or the phone calls. One question I hear from Ardia is, to what degree do the preschools themselves work together to positively impact government and the regulations? Is there like a
Yes, we do have I think it's probably every other month. Government, we all get together and share dialogue. But it's more so regarding the regulation.
Yes.
Versus us saying, look, let's get together and make our voice bigger, or just share the dialogue. We could do a lot better and be a lot closer and spending time with each other.
And with that, I guess the question would be, as both of you, what keeps you up at night in terms of the regulations of the school? Like what is that thing that if you could change something for this week coming up or for this next year, what would that look like? Speaking to the parents, of course.
I tell you what, let me see what the new set of regulations
There are more coming out?
They come. They keep coming.
Yeah.
They keep coming. They keep morphing. They keep morphing, and we have to comply as best we can. And that's why I say the dialogue between us is not always easy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But,
and that's also why it can be financially taxing, because they may say today, yeah, that's not working. Let's try this. We try it. Put our budget in place, absorb our budget, and then they come back 4 months later and it's not quite. So one thing, I'll remix your question just a little bit. I wouldn't say it keeps me up at night, but one thing I wish that would be a bit different is if they could have more, even when it comes to the academics, because we spoke because we was teaching a certain thing within math. And they saw it and was like, guys, that's too much, right? Let's not teach that. So when we was reviewing our curriculum,
who said that's too much? The regulator?
Right, health department. So when we were sitting down and revising our curriculum, we was like, Mr. Simon said, Teacher Tal, maybe you reach out to them and see if they have a curriculum set in place of expectations that they want, us to assess our children, and have a guide, and I reached out and they don't provide that. So
they don't have it or don't provide it?
They don't have it. Okay. So they come in and they will tell us, no, not that. But when we ask, okay, well, what is the standard? They don't provide. It's almost, it's something that evolves rather than something that's set in stone. And oftentimes, you know, when we do get in these meetings and talk to other private daycare facilities, sometimes the regulations contradict the other based on what the school is. So then that leaves questions of favoritism, so on, so forth. So
just to help that explanation, the health department doesn't regulate its curriculum. So, you know, I guess what the questions are difficult questions to put the health department, look, give us a recommendation. You know what I mean? They don't officially do that. You know, they can give their individual opinions, but that's where we should be going to the health department, the education department, and saying, what are the standards of what you call?
Help me understand that, because that's one of the questions I have. It's, you have a preschool, the regulations themselves are under the health department.
Yes.
But there is no, like, criteria, I guess, that says that when Anthony goes to school, he should know how to do counts. Is that in place?
The government has a I want to say not a requirement, but you know, everybody can go to primary school. You don't have to know how to count. You don't have to know anything to go to primary school.
But
you know,
okay,
but
is there something that whereby you should know something in order to not be behind the 8 ball?
Yes. So
they do because we're play based, right? So you have Montessori, it's different styles of learning, and we each have to register under one. So what health department does do within, you know, their branch is they make sure that according to, you know, we're play based. So according to what play based is, they make sure that we're within that scope.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, but there is
what I mean is they do have a they being the education department does have a curriculum. They have something that says this is what we want children to know.
Right.
You know, the basic requirement.
Yes.
They do have that. This is what we want children to know. Now, it's not mandatory on any level because, of course, you know, if you keep you don't mandatorily have to send your child to preschool.
Correct. Yeah.
So, you know, it's a want, not a demand, if you know what I mean. So.
So then, with that, I guess now I'm a parent and I want my child to come, or you want my child to come to you. Is there, and I guess the wrong word, but is there some sort of evaluation tool to make sure that Anthony is ready?
So what
is there some commentary that says that, you know, children coming from your place are, you know?
So what we've done is come up with a basic, as you were, we've come up with this basic. This is what children are going to be able to, what parents are going to be able to rely upon. P2L delivery at minimum.
Okay.
And if you don't, you know, if you're at month 3 or 4, and I can't remember exactly the month, and you're not progressing the right way, you'll get called in, and you know, you get this. You'll have a conversation as to why not.
Okay.
And you did ask a question earlier, what keeps us up at night? And the thing that I get concerned about the most is evaluating a child that, because today the children have such varied, the issues are so much broader than we can imagine.
Yes.
So, you know, bringing in a child into a classroom that probably should be in another classroom. So one that, you know, is, you know, is violent, or a child that, you know, misbehaves in a way that, you know, is on the spectrum, or, you know, things that you have difficulty controlling. And, you know, no parent wants their child to come home with a scratch on him from another child.
Yes.
But, you know, it takes some time to evaluate a child in that mood. And all children go through the normal things. But what keeps me up is knowing that, you know, we've properly placed these children in the right environment, and they're always growing. Because obviously, you know, you're taking $14.50 every month, as you mentioned. People want value for money, and people want, you know, and we all want to know that those children are moving in the right direction. Chantal spent a lot of time on the infrastructure, etc. You know, and it's, you know, we pride ourselves in having washing machines and all that, cleaning clothes, and but ultimately you want those children to be able to grow.
All inclusive.
You know, you want the children to be growing academically and performing, and so that is the challenging piece. You know, making sure that they're going through all of these things, but actually succeed.
So let's touch on
that. We focus on academics, behavioral, and social development. So we assess our children. They'll be going through assessments for the next 2 weeks. you know, we start our curriculum like in October. In September, we want to get a baseline for all our children.
Okay.
So for the next 2 weeks, we'll be assessing them, like I said, socially, behaviorally, academically, and to see what they know.
Yeah. Okay.
What they know, especially our new children that we haven't had experience with them thus far. And from there, you know, Mr. Simons noted that we set our base level on what we want our children to know. And as far as academics, you know, when we talk about colors, numbers, shapes, name recognition, you know, the basic preschool readiness, as well as with math, we have an advanced curriculum also. So we offer these two different styles of levels of learning within the traditional set, not so much with Spanish and all our extracurriculars. So after we assess our children, we're able to say where they are. Are they at standard or are they at advanced? And from there, we're able to, you know what our child needs academically, and teach them according to where we believe they can grow. Of course, you know, sometimes we have a child who's 3 years old, but is at the learning capacity as some of our preschool children. So like he said, we call in the parents and say, look, we've assessed your child. We believe they can be doing color words. They can be, you know, starting their phonics. They're not there yet, you know, as far as where their age is, but, you know, we allow our parents to say, no, let's keep him where he's at, or yes, let's push him. That's, you know, so we do offer that as well, academically. Yeah.
And how do you Troy touched on
and we assess them three times a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you handle, let me just ask the question, you answer how you choose. How do you manage discipline at school?
So my role at P2L, I'm not sure if we discussed that yet. I started at P2L as a full-time teacher. I was there for 2 years, and then while I was teaching at P2L, I was starting up my businesses. So I have 4 businesses.
And by the way, quick commercial for yourself. What are those 4 businesses?
Well, I don't want to detour too much. This topic is very important.
Okay, this one, keep going.
Yeah. So, long story short, you know, I spoke to management. I'm like, look, I want to take a chance. I'm at a stage right now where my daughter's homeschooled. You know, I have time and space to really dive into my businesses, and now it's a crucial time in my life. I think if I don't do it now, I'll regret it. So, you know, I want to dive into entrepreneurship. And I did that for 1.5 years, and now I'm back as an academic consultant. So I'm not a classroom teacher, but yeah.
So,
and they have supported me through that journey.
How did that work there in terms of, so you said your child was homeschooled, your daughter's homeschooled?
My daughter's homeschooled, yeah. So
but not by you?
Well, my mom was a teacher. She's now, and that goes into my my motivation to teach. My mama she's got an illness called lymphedema.
My mama, yeah.
My mommy.
Yeah, that's comfortable right there.
Yeah. She's got lymphedema, so she developed lymphedema when I was 7 years old. So, and I was the eldest child. So with that, you know,
keep going.
With that, you know, I had a difficult quote-unquote childhood. And with that, you know, through my experiences, I remember maybe 4 or 5 people that were smiling faces in my life that kept me going. And I wanted to be that for the children of Bermuda. You know, I wanted to be, because like Mr. Simon said, children go through so much that adds to the behavior. And, you know, I could have had behavioral problems just considering the struggles I went through, but there's people that I can even call and see to this day. They really helped keep me stable and keep me who I am, you know? So that's why I chose to become a teacher. Because I wanted to, they say be the change you want to see. Yeah. So I wanted to, you know, pay it back and continue to be that person, just in case a child I encounter, you know, doesn't have access to that. So going into the behavioral side, with the benefits of me being an academic consultant, so I am there part-time. I'm there between 4 or 6 hours a day. So if it's a child who needs extra assistance, behavioral, academic, There usually we'll call in a specialist, a behavioral specialist. The parent has to go on a waiting list, and they have to, you know, go through this rigorous process. And by the time, you know, they get in the door, they might very well have left our facility. But the benefits of me being there is I can really be flexible to the needs of the teachers and the students as well. So, you know, if a child needs a behavioral assessment, I jump right in. We have a meeting with the parents. We let them know, you know, these are the behaviors that we see. These are the options. So I'll go in and I'll observe that child for, you know, typically a day. You know, if we call in a behavioral specialist, they'll come in for 2-3 hours. I'll spend a whole 8-hour day with them. And do a full report, right, on every action I see. I'll put, it's a lot. I love it there.
Sorry, when you bring this specialist in, is that paid for separately by the parent? Or is that absorbed?
Government does, I mean, usually the parents have to pay for it.
Okay, gotcha.
With government, the child has to be at a certain age before they really take proactive actions towards it.
Okay.
What we find, like, you know, we got children from 22 months. So as trained professionals, we can see the onset signs of children with learning disabilities, behavioral problems from that young age. And, you know, we have to try to facilitate them most times with minimal support because they're not at a certain age yet. You typically is 5 before you can diagnose a child and say, wow, you know, yeah, maybe this child has this learning disability, and it really be recognized and supported. So that's another challenge that presents itself in private daycare in general, not just P2L.
Man, okay, that's obviously more.
I mean, that's a
more than
big
pretty
answer.
That's a-
Discipline is a ton of work.
It is, it is, it
It's
is.
a ton of work. Particularly, you know, if children are not got the traditional way, don't come quiet and, you know, what we would call well behaved.
Yes.
You know, you really have to put a ton of resources around it to make sure that you can streamline them, bring them in. Teacher Tao just talked about, you know, some of the children that she's worked with, and I've gotten to see that.
Yeah.
You know, but it really is a teacher with a child, almost like a parent, all day until that child, that behavior, you know, is improved. And you know, like I said, I've seen that. It's interesting to see the because I'm not trained in education at all. Like I said, I'm the administrator, but I can, you know, watching a child come in and, you know, be running around and with all the wrong behaviors, so to speak, antisocial behaviors, and then see a teacher like Teacher Tao spend the day, and, you know, in a matter of days, maybe a week at the most, you know, that behavior has changed, and it's really, really impressive.
Yeah, it's really analyzing the child, you know, their likes, their dislikes, what motivates them. I love this story that I tell. I had a student, and also, pause there, to go back to Mr. Simons, you know, he said it depends on the children, but it also depends on the parents and their level of acknowledgement to the help that's needed for their child, right?
Yes.
So in this particular case that I'm about to explain, the parents were all on board. They was like, look, my child has a behavioral problem. Teacher Tao, let's sort it out. And this was at another school many years ago, but, you know, we collaborated, and, you know, we put behavioral plans at home and at school that were, you know, in sync, and nothing was working. It was months, and we're like, oh, his behavior's getting worse, and we couldn't figure it out. And what resolved that child, what actually changed that child's temperament altogether was rainbow sprinkles.
What's that?
Rainbow sprinkles. You ever been to Double Dip and got rainbow sprinkles?
Well, I don't like that. Okay, yes.
It's like these little sprinkles that are colorful, and
Yes.
you sprinkle it on top of your ice cream. So we had a birthday party, and, you know, I brought sprinkles, and one day they was in my cabinet, and he was just so fascinated. So I was like to his parents, look, he's really interested in these sprinkles. Let's experiment with them. So we started putting sprinkles on his grapes, right? On his grape, and behavior is so complex, but can be so simple if your eyes are open and you're really attentive, right? So that is what changed this child's temperament. Sprinkles on his grapes. He would, you know, if he was about to have a tantrum or show negative behavior, do you want sprinkles on your grapes tomorrow for fruit? Yes. But if you continue that behavior, maybe we won't get it tomorrow.
Wow.
He was straightened up. And it worked at home as well. His mom would call me, Teacher Tao, I don't think Cannon's getting grapes tomorrow. You heard him in the background, no, I put sprinkles on my grapes.
Oh.
And it worked. It worked. So.
And just as a side, have you followed up to see how he's doing now? How old is he now, you think?
Last time I saw him was 24th of May. We keep in contact, yes.
How old is he now?
He's 9.
Gotcha. Okay,
9 years old, yeah.
I'm going to go back for a minute.
Sure.
That's because I want to ask this question. You keep talking about these businesses. What are they?
Oh, yeah.
Not directly, but I would just, for
Yeah.
this, because the other thing, by the way, which people understand from me is, I think COVID has really caused us to focus on our passions.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like to say is, I want to understand how people monetize their passion.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk to me about these 4 businesses that you have. And how they,
So.
but you look young anyway, so we'll see.
Oh, yeah. I like you. So my business that ties into education is Tales with Tao. So I do audiobooks, I do workshops. I've been at the exhibition for 3 years, you know, from exam companies, governments, daycares, birthday parties, you name it. On a larger scale, you know, people come to me and they say, look, we're doing this workshop, this is the theme, and we want you to do an hour-long presentation. I'll write a book for them. I'll do a whole Broadway presentation. I dress up. Check out my YouTube. It's better to see than to hear about.
No, it's fine. But again, it's a real inspiration to see that this is how people can actually, not gonna be about money, but just how you can take your passion, right, and be a positive influence.
It started through COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was doing remote teaching. Mm-hmm. We had hour-long Zoom calls every day, every morning. But then I had to set out a schedule, letting my parents know what to do for the child throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And I was recommending all these videos from other, you know, providers that were based abroad. Mm-hmm. And one day I was like, I'm better than the, not to be arrogant, but I'm like, you know, yeah, I can do it too. You know, yeah, yes, I can. So I started making my own videos. And that's what, you know, my children were watching during COVID. And then when we opened back up, I started recording my lessons and turning them into like little productions. So instead of, you know, sometimes within daycare, you will use videos on YouTube as reinforcement.
Yeah.
So what better reinforcement than to sit your child down and let them watch the lesson for review that we did 3 days ago. And now they're watching themselves on the same TV screen, on the same TV or device that they're watching these other people that they admire so much, Blippi and, you know, just movies in general. And it gives them it connects them to where the world is going as far as technology in a healthy way. Yeah.
That's
so
2.
check it out. That's Tales of Tao. Mm-hmm. And then I have Remember Me, which is a custom jewelry business. This is my Bermuda pendant that I have right here. So it started as a memorial business. I used to do flyers. I'm a graphic designer.
Yeah.
But I used to do tags, you know, the tags and custom shirts that people got for memorial purposes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so that's how it started. I used to print the tags out, so on and so forth. And then I started doing custom bracelets, similar to what you see on me now. So when a loved one would pass, they would get a bracelet as well that had the loved one's name on it. So that kind of evolved, and then from there I started adding collections to the custom jewelry.
Gotcha.
So right now my focus is the Bermuda collection. So that's Remember Me, luxury, affordable jewelry. And then like I said, I'm a graphic designer, so I have a business called Television, where I used to do like people used to come to me for parties and, you know, just to get videos and photography. But I'm kind of going away from that now, and I take on clients now, and I basically, I don't manage their social media, but I manage the content. So some of my clients include Labor Day, so all the promotion and everything you see for Labor Day, North Shore Medical, BGA, you know, and the list goes on. I take on clients, and, you know, anywhere from graphic design, flyers, videography, drone footage.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Again, I just wanted to do that. I mean, obviously it's not about the preschool stuff, but it ties in because I think we have to have a greater vision for what we do. And I encourage everybody, you know, that whatever your passion is, first of all, make sure you understand your passion, and then find out ways whereby persons are prepared to engage you, and at some level you can charge them, because we'll be surprised, we are surprised at how many people are prepared to pay for things as long as they perceive the value, and you do, basically, ultimately, you do what you say you're going to do. If you do that, then you're fine. So again, well done. Listen, audience again, whoa, your time is flying. It's almost 10 o'clock already.
Time flies when
yes,
you're having fun.
Do. And definitely have lots of fun. So let me just get this here real quick. Hold on, 1 second. Is somebody seeing that? What they saying here? A minute. Flip it up. Oh. I won't call the name, but the person just saying that good evening. Person writing this in. Oh, I know the name. I do know the name, but it just says good evening. My grandson name attends P2L, and it was the best choice we made for nursery, preschool, and she has her name back. So she's a proud person. That's for sure. Proud mommy. So well done. It goes to show. And again, you know,
our parents are awesome.
Well, the parents are awesome because you guys are awesome. And again, even that, though, what's important is that for those of us that don't have such young children, we would not know about this.
Yeah.
And even today, like I did my research, of course, but when I got to better understand the actual P2L, it was like, okay, fine, again, where is this, what is it? And now, to know that you classify it almost as a performing arts preschool, it's more than incredible, you know. And still looking now to figure out for other parents, what will they do, or what for them is fundamental about your preschool process. We know it should prepare you for what I call the formal school education, but this is an incredible part. And I never refer to, I have a friend of mine, by the way, and she would say it's not a daycare. It's never daycare, because daycare is a whole different class. Yeah, yes. It's preschool in terms of you come. It's a learning environment, different techniques, of course, but that is what it's going to be.
That's the number they can call.
Yeah. It's easy, 599-666 or quadruple 6. Always be good. So we'll come back to that. Now, let me just, there were some things I wanted to go through. Let me just make sure I got them all. But the first thing is, what's amazing is just this whole idea. It's only concept. That is not come sit down and talk to, listen to one person for all 6 or 5 hours a day. And we also know that people learn differently now. We have, unfortunately, a much shorter attention span. And it's interesting how you said that in terms of in the rotation, just enough to start to get bored or otherwise, and then it's time to change. And so all day I'm changing for different things and learning different things. And so again, I want to commend for that.
with the classes that we provide, our teachers teach multiple classes. So it's not that they experience all 12 classes in one day.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
So Teacher Crystal has 3 subjects, which is culture, practical life, and there is bathroom etiquette, how to tie the shoelaces, how to pack up the lunchbox, just basic skills that they need, and Spanish. Teacher Bibiana does STEM with a focus in math. So, experiments and building things in STEM, but then again, focusing on color, shapes, and numbers. And then Teacher Mitch, she has 1 subject, which is preschool readiness. So she really gets to focus on that, with literacy as well.
So is the preschool readiness what I call that technical, that formal stuff?
Yes.
The traditional one?
Yes. Indicators for
preschool. So that's her only subject, so she really can focus on that. Very important. With literacy. And then Teacher Dwight and I really focus on the extracurricular.
And it's amazing to me that you're not a full-time teacher, you are a
academic
consultant to the program, to the school, yeah?
Yes.
As opposed to being a full-time person.
Yes.
Which is not
historically, I started full-time.
Right. Well, it's amazing to see, even obviously there's a difference in age to you, right? But how you gel so cleanly.
Yay!
It works well.
Before 10 o'clock rolls around, I just want to say, I know we're talking.
We don't have to start right at 10, but I'm just saying that it's amazing that the time is going so fast.
Yes, but I just, we're getting close, and I just want to say that I know this is where we're presenting P2L tonight.
Yes.
But I just want to give a shout out to all the educators in the room.
Absolutely.
All the preschools.
Oh yeah.
All the different apprenticeship departments, like the counselors, the custodians. You know what I mean? Everybody, the secretaries, because we're all really one team.
Yes.
Because there's only one future, and we need to develop and do it right. I think we need to love, heal, educate, and nurture every child until he or she is successful.
I mean, everyone knows that I'm not an educator for sure, but
Yes,
that's
you
my
are.
that's my
Daddy.
that's my
Yes.
commendation though, because even yesterday I said I drove the Cleveland cricket team, the
Right.
juniors, and one child that's on the bus was with us, right? When we got down to, we was down at RA around about maybe 7:30 or so. He said, "My mom has come to get me." I said, "Where is she?" She was actually at St. David's Primary, getting ready for Tuesday. And so I didn't know who her mother was, who his mother was rather. But I met her later. I told her the same thing. You know, we don't give enough credit to educators. They do so much. And I know my wife's a school principal, right? And so with that, it's for many, many years. We'll be away in the summertime. What happens? Anthony, for 2 or 3 days, and
yeah,
we'll
she
go.
is.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And so, she's moved now, but anyway.
okay.
And so it was summertime, spend her own money, or spend my money, I suppose, or our money, to do stuff. And so I'm just saying that, and that's not the only person, right? And so I wholeheartedly support educators in Bermuda. And as you said, and those that provide supporting services, because if we don't get it right, we're going to cause a problem for our children.
They had a Christmas play, your wife had not a Christmas play, a production a few months, maybe 2 months ago. And it was the video recording was excellent.
Would have been end of March, but that's a whole different
On all
conversation.
the past principals at that school.
Oh yes.
She's awesome.
Because Sports was closing, and so she did.
Yes,
Yes.
awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Shout out to Holly.
Shout out to Aunt Holly. Fresh out your gold alumni.
There you go. And this person always asks this question, which is just a recap, please, as to which schools you attended while you coming up. You said it, but tell them again because they didn't get that.
Oh, me?
Each of you.
Playmates High Preschool, Sister Simons, West Pembroke, Robert Crawford, Berkeley College of Music, and I am still a life learner.
Excellent. And go ahead.
So I started at Happy Moments. Then I graduated to what that school is called?
Good there.
Um,
And she lost her mind, lost her memory. Come on.
Kids College.